Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, guys, based on the time zones you all are coming from. So, guys, before we start with the session, can you all please give me a quick confirmation if you all can see my screen and hear me loud and clear as well? Perfect. Thank you for the confirmation, everyone. So, before we get started, let me quickly introduce myself to you all first. So, my name is Neeraj Keria, and I've been working in this IT industry for more than 13 years now. So the main agenda for our session is we are going to discuss on data visualization, what exactly data visualization means, and why we have to focus on Tableau platform, what exactly is Tableau, and again, how data science is structured, what exactly it is, and then we are going to see a small hands-on by using the Tableau tool. So let's get started. So first of all, we are going to focus on data visualization. So if you talk about data visualizations, then simply it means that if we are given a set of data, for example, let's say Amazon gives us its sales data for last 6 months, for last 4 months, and we are going to make sure that we are using that particular data in the most effective format possible, correct? And that exactly is what data visualization does. If we have a large or we have a large data set in the format of tables or databases, then we can create a visualized report out of it so that our stakeholders or the management team, they will be having a better insight on what the trend or what the trend has been in the data set, how data has been structured and divided so that the right insight can be derived and the right actions can be taken up based on the analysis that we have done. So, for example, let's say if we take a look at these four tables. Now, by taking a simple overview, we can see the tables, they look almost the same, correct? These are the data set for the quarter performance. But if we visualize, if we simply plot these data in a format of the graph here, we can see these all are completely different. As you can see here, these all are completely different. So this is the visualization for the first table. This one is for second table, this one is for third table, and this one is for fourth table. So you can see we are having a positive correlation observed in the first table, where the increase in one number is also increasing the value for y as well. Whereas in the second table, we can see there has been an initial increase, but then there has been downfall in terms of correlation of x and y values. Same way for third, we can see there hasn't been a good, or can say a good positive correlation. There has been a medium level correlation available, almost we can say perfect. And then we have in fourth, there has been no correlation. That means it has been completely zero. So again, the impact of one doesn't have impact on the other values as a part of correlation analysis. So we can see even though the table data looks the same, but in reality, they are going to be completely different. And that exactly is what we visualize by using the visualization tools. So basically in data visualization, we have to make sure we are having the access to data coming in from different sources. Let's say we have data coming in from different sources, as in from database, from ERP tools. We may have data coming in from databases. We may have data coming in from the social media channels. So there can be multiple sources of data, correct? So we have to ingest data from multiple sources. Then we have to work on its analysis. When we say analysis, for example, the company wants to understand the profit distribution for the last quarter. The company wants to understand like which category has been the most profitable and which category has been the least profitable for them. So again, these type of analysis we have to make sure that we do with the help of these visualization tools. So either we can do the visualization manually, we can do that, or we can take the help of these tools available, which can help us in making sure we are having the right insight on the given data set. And then we can create a report out of it that we can share with our stakeholders, managers, or the entire team so that they have a better insight, plus they can take up actions accordingly. Next, we have Tableau. So Tableau is one of the most popular BI tools. When we say BI tools, it simply means business intelligence tool available in the market. Now, when we are referring to business intelligence tool, it simply means tools which allow us to have a good insight on any sets of data that we may have the access to. So it allows us to be flexible. That means we can change the data, we can work around with data pointers, we can customize the reports at any point of time. That makes it flexible. It has an intuitive platform. That means the entire UI is easier to use and grasp so that it becomes easier for the first time users as well to get on with the tool. It offers interactive visuals. That means we can create multiple visualized, we can say a completely intuitive dashboards and multiple reports which can be easier for any team to visualize, and then it would simply reduces the production time as in the production of reports from any given data set. So Tableau is basically, as we discussed, it's a software company which produces interactive data visualization or process on business intelligence, and Tableau helps the world's largest organization unleash the power of the most valuable data and their people. That exactly is what Tableau does. And it allows the customers to spend more time on data analysis and less time on data wrangling. Now, when we say data wrangling, it simply means that we are we process the data before we can get started. That means in case there are some garbage values, we have to work on data cleaning, then that is already taken care by Tableau as well, as compared to other platforms. So data science, as we know, data science is basically, in simple layman terms, what data science is. Data science is, in simple layman terms, increasing the accuracy with which we can make predictions. That exactly is what data science is. So basically, in data science, we find out what is the possibility of any event happening. That means with the utmost accuracy as possible. So a question that is usually asked by data scientists is, tell me something that we don't know. And that's why they work on increasing the possibility, increasing the accuracy level for any prediction that is going to be made. For example, we can, being a data scientist, we can predict the performance of different categories for any e-commerce stores. We can predict with the utmost accuracy what exactly is going to be the preference level of different of the users or the consumers for a specific brand or product. And that's why it involves programming, statistics, and business logic. So when we want to work in data science, we should be having a good understanding of how the programming, we can say that primarily in Python, and then how the statistical components work and how to align these with the business objective. That is going to be the focus for any data scientist. All right. All right, so if you talk about data science lifecycle, then it simply should match the business requirements. We have to start with data acquisition as well. That means before we can start working on the analysis for any data, and once we have got the access to the data set, then we have to work on data processing, where we have to make sure that we process data in case the data needs to be transformed, data needs to be cleaned, then we have to do that processing. Then we have to explore data. We have to perform the EDA. EDA refers to exploratory data analysis, where we can make use of the plot of the point plot graphs, where we can make use of the box plot, different line graphs here. We can present them visually on multiple data pointers. We can test our own hypothesis, how exactly it matches the given data set. And then we can create a model that we can test by, and we can combine with multiple machine learning deployment models. And then we can deploy the models, and then we can get the result out of it. That is how much accurate the data is given to us for solving that particular problem statement. And if you talk about data science domain, then we can talk about the retail. Data science is applicable in almost every domain that we can think of, in retail, insurance, transportation, government, education, banking, because at the end, each and every data pointers, they all are having a large set of data. Because again, if you talk about banking domain, and banking domain is one of the domain which generates petabyte scales of data on a monthly basis. Same way for education, same way for retail segment as well. For retail, like we can take the example for Amazon, Flipkart, again for these giants, they keep on generating multiple data pointers for every sale, for every purchase that we have, correct? And that's why these companies, when they have so much of data, in order to proceed further, they have to make sure they are taking the right step in every way they can. And that's the main reason why you can see that only certain companies they have been able to sustain for almost more than 2 decades now. So let's say we talk about Google, Facebook, Microsoft, Apple, again, these companies, they have been there in the market for more than a decade now. Why? Because they have been continuously improvising themselves. They have been taking up actions based on the accurate predictions of what exactly is going to happen in the market. That's why they have been able to outbeat the competitors. Why Google has been the king of the search engine. Why no other company they have come up at the same level, or we can say at the same level of like Google. Why? Because no one has the access to user data like Google. And that's why Google simply uses this enormous amount of data to keep on improvising its entire solutions, its entire products, so that no one can ever think of beating them, because simply they don't have the access to that much of data which Google has, right? And that's why data science is well required and well implemented in every major sector that we can think of. As a part of a hands-on, let's do one thing. Let's first of all install Tableau. So again, once we have successfully installed Tableau, then this is the Tableau desktop version for community that we are going to look at. So we can click on download Tableau public. So Tableau is offered in two different versions. We have the enterprise and then we have the public. So public is offered free of cost. So we don't have to pay a single penny for using the public version. And for getting started with public, we have to enter the email address and then we can click on download the app. So we'll be having the access to the app directly given in our mailbox. All right. So once we have the access to Tableau version, then we can simply go back and open up Tableau Public. So before we can get started, we can choose the data source. That means from where we have to procure data. So we can choose a source to be Microsoft Excel text format. We have data in JSON file, in CSV file, or when we want to connect multiple data sources like database, we can define the exact source. And let's say we want to work with a simple Excel file. So here we can click on Microsoft Excel. Here we can choose any sample file that we may have the access to. For example, we do have the access to our global superstore orders file, which contains the details for different orders in different categories, and that too for different cities all around the globe. So that if you want to solve a problem statement, as in what should be the prediction of sales in any given quarter, and what has been the performance of sales for any given year or any given quarter, then we can derive these kind of information by referring to the sheet that we have the access to. That means we do need to have the access to a data set, right? So here we can choose a sample set such as global superstore for October's for orders. Here we can click on open. Now, when we open up any order, it may take a while. So as we can see here, we have the access to this data right now. So we can see the list of all the sheets that we have in the current file. So we have one for orders and the other one for people. To see a preview, we can double click on orders on whichever table we want to refer, and we can see the list of all data available in that particular table. Right, so we can see the entire list of all the data sets available here. And let's say if we want to combine two different tables together, we want to create a new union, then we can create a new union. For example, we have orders, and then we want to combine this with public. So here we can combine this with public as well. And then we can choose whichever common field are present in these two that we want to combine together. We can choose the order and the people, again, which order and which category we want to choose from, and how exactly we want to order them. In case we are going to create some conjunction between multiple tables that we may have the access to in the same file. So as we already have the access here, let's do one thing. Let's not use this one here, so we can simply remove this, because as we are just starting up, let's keep things simple. for everyone to understand in a better way. So we can make use of the current table known as orders, where we have row ID, we have order ID, we have order date, ship mode, customer ID, customer name, we have segment, postal code, we have data for city, state, country, product, market, subcategory, product name, sales, quantity, discount, profit, shipping cost, and order priority. So we have these different data pointers available with us that we can make use of. All right. And now once we are done, then we can go to the worksheet where we can actually start on creating the reports as per the data that we have currently imported. So if we go into the sheet section here, we can see the entire report given to us. So we can see the tables and different matrices that we have in these different tables. And we can see in the center section, we have the canvas. Here we have the canvas where we can create the completely dynamic reports. That means when you say dynamic, that means we can create a dashboard as well, through which we can allow the end users to communicate with the stakeholders or for any user stakeholders. If you are creating a live interactive dashboard through which we can communicate and they can perform multiple operations accordingly. All right. So we can see, and again, if you focus on the right side, we can see the entire type of visualization that we can have based on the data that we are going to select. For example, we select any geospatial data, for example, city, then when we have a map available for it, so we can plot this data on a given map type. And we have data, let's say we have data for the order date and the profit, then we can choose whether we want to work with the graphs or the line graphs, or we want to present them as a part of pie chart or the box plot. We can choose the type of visualization that we want to have based on the selection of different data sets. So let's say if we want to work on, now we have a problem statement where we want to find the performance, we can say the profit percentage across different segments in different year. So we can choose these two matrices from the left sidebar. We have, first of all, we have the profit, right? So we can choose profit, we can drag it and place it in the row section or in the columns as per the requirement. So if we draw something to our rows, we can see we have only one row available, and here we have the entire sheet given to us. Now we want to segregate the profit. We want to segregate the profit based on the order date. So we can choose, we have order date as a parameter here. So here we can again drag and drop the order date as columns. So we can see the entire data has been presented in terms of column, and currently we have chosen the data based on year. So we can see how exactly the profit distribution has been on an yearly basis. So in 2012, it was somewhere close to 250K, whereas in 2015, it was somewhere close to 500K for the given year. And now if you want us to, now basically it may look like a complete straight line, but there be multiple other distributions available. They may be different performance for different years, and they may have been multiple different trends. So if you want to elaborate this in detail, again we can click on the plus icon available in the column section, and we can see now the entire data has been divided into four equal, or we can say four different years. Instead of using a single graph for years, we can see now data has been well divided into different years. So you can see what has been the performance for 2012, for 2013, of 2014 and 15 as well. So now we can see there has been multiple variations. So 2013 saw a steep increase in the growth till second quarter, but from second to fourth quarter, the growth rate was not much higher. And same way for 2012, the growth rate has been moderate from the till the third quarter, but from third quarter till fourth quarter there has been a steep increase. Same way, there has been a steep increase from third quarter in 2015, correct? Same way, there has been a good steep increase from the second quarter in 2015 itself. So we can see a more better report. We can see a better report in terms of having the performance for these different years. And if we want to present them in different formats, we can choose different formats of graphs as well. For example, here we want them to be represented in terms of the heat maps, in terms of the bar graphs. We can choose the correct format depending upon the requirement level. And let's say if you want to segregate, for example, let's say we want to create a report for the year, but again, we want to make sure that the entire report, or we can say the entire year, is shown as a year. So we can drag the year column here from the row section, from the column section, and then we can present them under year. So now we can see the entire report has been distributed on a same graph, whereas each and every year they are being shown as a different color report altogether. So you can see the entire report has been generated, but again, with a different type of visualization that we may perform here. So depending upon, again, let's suppose if we want to segregate them further on different quarters, that means we want to see the performance of these different 4 years, how they have performed in different quarters. So again, if you want to segregate them, we can simply expand this. And you can see we have segregated them based on the month as well, as in different quarters. So we can again have a better insight how the performance of how the profit percentage was for the company in different quarters, like which one performed really well and which one performed bad. So we can see here in third quarter, the year, we can hover over any of the data pointer that we want to work with. So in 2015, there has been the best growth has been in third quarter itself, not in fourth quarter, not in first quarter, not in second quarter, not in third, or not in fourth quarter. The best growth has been in third quarter itself. Correct. Same way for the year for 2013, there had been a steep decrease by the mid of this third quarter, and since then there has been no increase, or because no gradual increase in terms of this kind of report being generated. So next, if you want to find out the year-to-year wise, now here we can perform multiple operations on the segment that we have worked on. For example, here we can right click on the segment and we want to perform a quick table calculation, and we can find the difference. We can find the rolling total, the percent difference, the rank, percentile, moving average, compound growth rate, year-over-year growth rate. So for example, we want to find the year-over-year growth rate if we have data for different years. If we haven't been working with data from different years, then here we can find out different year-wise data as well. Depending upon the requirement, we can choose accordingly. So let's say here we want to perform the year-over-year growth. So here we can define year-over-year growth, and then we will be able to find the year-over-year growth depending upon how exactly we want to calculate it. And then if you want to customize the entire viewpoint, then we can go to the month section where we can, for example, here we want to see the report for the entire year. We can focus on a single year. And then if you want to segregate it based on the segments, then we can simply pull any of the segment, and then we can define as a color or as a tooltip, however we want to segregate them based on the segments. All right. So now when we say we are pulling something under the color tab, that means let's say we have visualized different data pointers in terms of different colors. That's why we have put the segment for year under the color. Let's say we have multiple products. For example, we have multiple products here. We have the discount, we have segment, we have ship mode, we have the subcategory. For example, we have categories. Now we want to show the categories not as a color, but you want to show the category as a tooltip. Now, when we say tooltip, that means now if we hover over any of the products, we can see the category section is also applicable here when we hover over the graph, right? And what we can see here, so basically here we have segregated the entire data set into different categories, right? We have different segments. We have consumer segment, corporate segment, and then we have home office. And then we have multiple categories for each and every segment also defined here. So we can choose how exactly we want to visualize and how exactly we want to present these depending upon the requirement. All right. So now if we want to perform now, for example, let's say if you want to work with on a separate data set, we can click on a new sheet, and then we can get started on creating a different data segment for different requirement as well. For example, we want to see the quantity shipped in different cities. So here we can bring in quantity to the rows. And now we want to visualize the entire performance in terms of cities as well. I think we missed on that. So we can simply bring down cities under the city section. So for example, here we have defined sum for the quantity, and then we have plotted against city. Now, for this kind of visualization, the bar graph is not going to be a good option, correct? Because here we have numerous cities, correct? And again, when we have geospatial data, it won't make any sense to use this kind of visualization. It won't be fruitful. So for this, we can switch to the map section. So depending upon what kind of data we have the access to, we can switch the section of map. For example, here we want to make use of a complete map. That means we want to plot this data on the map here. We can switch to map. And then here we can see here we have plotted the entire data among multiple cities in terms of the quantities as well. So what we have here, we have city, and then we have currently been plotting the sum in terms of quantity shipped. And again, if you want to plot, suppose graph as well as in the profit ratio, then we can define, okay, how exactly we want to plot the profit, or we want to stick with the quantity. So if you want to plot the profit, we can see different data for different cities has been plotted successfully. And if we hover over any old city here, for Bhilwara, for Ajmer, for Allahabad, for Nasik, for Rajkot, we can see the entire data set being reported here. Now, let's say we want to segregate them based on the color scheme, based on the segments. Again, we can pull segments and we can bring segments to the color scheme so that we can see. Now we have different colors. We have this color for the orange color is for the corporate, blue color is for the consumer products. We can see this is how the entire data set has been visualized. And now if we want to make a selection of any of the pointers, then we can select that and we can see the entire report. Okay, what exactly has been the segment, the profit, and the city for data point that we have selected. We can choose the entire category, and we can see the red color has been defined for the city. And now if we want to customize, for example, suppose here we want to customize the entire color tooltip, then we can do that easily. For example, we want to filter this out. We don't want to use all the segments here. We only want to showcase just the corporate segment. So here we can define corporate, and then we can plot it. So we can filter out what kind of data set we want to use, and we want to present on the graph as per the requirement. And if you want to work on different segment, for example, here we want to see, we want to calculate something here, then we can go for year by year growth, or we want to go for the rank, the percent of total, the percent difference, the difference itself, then we can simply define the graph as per the requirement. And now if you want to work on the forecast, for example, let's say if you want to work on the forecast here, let's say we want to create a forecast by using these values. So we can right click on any of the graphs here. For example, suppose here we want to work on forecasting this one. So here we can right click on this entire data set here and we can go for forecast. So basically based on the current trend here, we can simply give us what should be the forecast of the current segment. So we can see the entire line, and this line is going to represent the entire forecast. What should be the forecast based on the current trend, which is going to be automatically defined by Tableau. And if you wanted to show the trend lines, we can again right click on the graph here. We have the trend line. So based on the current data, we can see what has been the trend for different data pointers to have a quick visualization done. And let's suppose if we want to work on any specific data pointers here, we want to work on any specific forecasting options here, we can simply group multiple data pointers together. We can ungroup it, and then we can define what kind of pointer we want to work with. Suppose say here we want to work on just two different pointers from a given graph here. We can simply make a selection like this one, and again these two pointers we can make a selection. If you want to group them together, if you want to merge them together as a single data pointer, we can do that. And then we can create a class, or we can forecast, or we can create a trending line for the current data set selected. We can choose that. If you want to format the given table here, we can simply go for format, or we want to refer to our own data center, we can also create that. And for getting the entire total all together, for example, suppose if you want to define the entire total here, right? So here we have the entire sum. So basically, we can segregate it based on, okay, we are going to find the entire sum, the average, the median value that we are going to plot against the data pointers that we have selected. We can define the entire value. For example, we want to find the maximum value itself. Again, here we can simply plot the graph based on maximum value that you want to define. Now, if we want to create an interactive dashboard that we can allow the end users to work on, so here we can go to dashboard, and under dashboard, we have new dashboard. So here we can create a dashboard that can be shared and that can be opened up on different devices by using different portals that we can use to get started. For example, here we can create multiple sheets. For example, here we want to make use of this sheet here. So here we can simply drag and drop the sheet. We can choose what kind of device we want to work on. We are currently working on phone. So when we are trying to share this on phone here, and then this is how the entire report is going to look like on phone itself. How the entire pointers are, we can simply distribute the entire pointers, we can modify it, we can change the size as well, which is going to be based on the sheet that we have currently created. We can see how exactly it is going to look in vertical, in horizontal, or in the blank position as well, and how exactly we want to create the entire navigation so that once we create the entire dashboard, and here we can click on device preview for phone or for whichever device you want to add. If you want to change the layout, we can define title, we can set the x-axis, the y-axis, we can set a background as well if you want to place a background for any current data pointer that we have selected. So we can choose the type of background that you want to place for any distributions that you want to create here, depending upon the use case. So we can have the entire distribution created, the entire dashboard created. Once we are done, we can simply click on save, and then we can save this to Tableau public server. And then this is what we can share across by signing into our account, and then we can get the shareable link through which this can be easily visualized across different devices as a part of visualization that we can define here. And in terms of which all tabs are most essential, then we can say that mostly when we are working here, again, we make use of the entire visualization tab available on the left section. We perform the multiple operations by using the worksheet and by using the analysis tab, where we can make use of any kind of analysis that we want to perform on the current data set. All right, so thank you so much for joining, guys, and have a great day ahead. Take care. Bye-bye.